We live on the bottom floor, but we are not allowed to even live there anymore. They say we have too many rooms in our social rented flat. We've an 8 by 10 foot box room where you can't swing a cat.
Greetings! Thanks for tuning in once again to me ranting about the state of our country thanks to Westminster mismanagement. I'd say it was due to Westminster incompetence, but trust me, it's entirely by design. If you've not already guessed, this time I want to discuss the bedroom tax. If you don't know what it is, you should be like the majority of Labour MPs who failed to vote against it. Ashamed of yourself. It's a disgusting policy. 85% of the public want it abolished. It was created by Labour, who trialled a version of it in 2001, then implemented it for private tenants in 2008. Which in a way was a good thing, as we shouldn't be paying taxpayers' money to private landlords so that tenants can live in houses way too big for them. But since the ConDem Westminster government rolled it out to those living in council housing, it's gone from being a cap on what private landlords can squeeze from local councils to an attack on the poorest and the most vulnerable in society. And it's just been ruled by a court that it breaches human rights. But that never bothered Ian Duncan Smith when a court ruled that workfare breached anti-slavery and forced labour laws. The ConDems just retrospectively changed the law so that they never broke the law and carried on regardless. Theresa May has just announced plans to scrap human rights as soon as they possibly can. Not that they gave much of a monkeys about human rights as it is. Anyway, moving along. I've attended demos against the bedroom tax and spoken with some of the victims. I've repeatedly attacked Westminster for implementing it, but it never once occurred to me to blame Holyrood for it. So why do the Labour Party keep trying to tell the 80,000 families in Scotland who are suffering because of it that they should blame the SNP? I saw a Labour councillor tell an outright lie on Twitter last weekend, saying that the Scottish Government is doing nothing to help people affected by the bedroom tax. Simply not true. After the intervention of Shelter Scotland, the Scottish Government have put up £20 million this year to alleviate the effects of the bedroom tax. And he had to have known his statement wasn't true, since he seemed to know the full facts and figures behind it. But he refused to delete the tweet. He did say he was willing to alter it to ScotGov not doing enough, but said it doesn't matter as it wouldn't help those affected. Yeah, well, lying about it won't help them any either, will it, pal? He also point blank refused to acknowledge that it was a heartless, ruthless Westminster system that he is defending who forced it onto Scotland, despite the majority of our MPs not voting for it. At one point he even accused us of saying that taxpayers should foot the bill for him to have 6 spare bedrooms, which is just plain naff. But hey, since he brought it up, how many spare rooms does Better Together chairman Alistair Darling have in the 4 houses that taxpayers have forked out money for? Darling doesn't even want the bedroom tax to enter into the independence debate, probably because he doesn't want to be asked why he didn't bother his backside to turn up to vote against it. The only thing I would agree on is the fact that the people affected by the bedroom tax need help. But I refuse to agree that the only way to help them is to force the Scottish Government to cut £50 million from one area of our already limited budget to counter the effects of what Westminster has foisted upon us. Because you can be sure that it wouldn't be long before unionist politicians were criticising them for that cut. And that's their political plan. Force through so many cuts that will see people suffer, then blame the SNP. Because blaming the SNP is something they tend to do a lot. Labour Liberal Council in Edinburgh makes a total pig's ear of the trams project. Blame the SNP. Fuel poverty skyrockets due to huge price hikes by energy companies. Blame the SNP. Decades of misery forced upon the entire country by Margaret Thatcher. Blame the SNP. Next they tried to say that Labour can't do anything about the bedroom tax as they are not in power, and that the misery people are being forced to endure is entirely down to the Scottish Government. Well, first off, I have serious doubts Labour would do anything, since it's Labour who are in power in the councils that are forcing people from their homes for falling into arrears due to the bedroom tax. All they really need to do is reclassify bedrooms as box rooms, studies or non-specific rooms. Something the Labour-run council in Leeds did with over 800 bedrooms. And secondly, the blame for the suffering that people are being forced to endure is not the fault of the Scottish Government. That blame lies firmly with Westminster. They created it, they implemented it, they defend it. And now they're the ones that say we're better together? My bahookie! I'm not willing to take the 40% chance that if I vote Labour at the next Westminster general election in 2015, that I might get a Labour government, and that they might repeal the bedroom tax, and might forgive all rent arrears caused by it, and that they might build 1 million new council homes, of which some might be in Scotland. What I will do is I will continue to protest the bedroom tax. I will continue to challenge the lies told by any politician in order to further their own political agenda. And in order that Scotland is never again subjected to unfair, unjust and entirely inhumane policies that only hurt our most vulnerable citizens, so that governments we didn't elect can give tax praise to those that don't even need it, I will vote yes in the independence referendum. And I will continue to urge people to vote yes too. Now I urge you to do the same, and spread the word.
McVie thinks all elected officials should stop playing politics with people's lives and instead work to protect the people of Scotland. Vote responsibly.